Hello indie game fans, the side-scrolling action platformer is one of the most classic genres, where we have indie developers both paying tribute and trying to push the genre forward, so here's a look at another 10 more upcoming titles in the space. Let's begin with OmegaBot, a fantastic retro entry where you play as a little robot in a world filled with deadly machines, having to blast your way through in order to lift a curse from the land. Of course, it does borrow some elements from the Blue Bomber, having you fight robotic bosses and gaining their powers and abilities when you defeat them, so all pretty classic and standard in the space. However, it does look great with a nice variety of weapons and enemies shown off, although it does seem to be a little difficult to read, but if you do love this genre, it's one to check out.
The legacy of the past is real. I'd heard the legends, of course, but seeing her was a different story. The way she moved and fought was unreal, like a magical being that could should never have been.
I'm a sucker for pixel art, so of course, Kandria gets a spot, where you play as a recently reactivated android, fighting against both rogue robots and human beings. It seems to have a non-linear open-world structure, but the developers stopped short of calling it a Metroidvania, which perhaps indicates a lack of progression. Still, the exploration looks interesting, although I'm not the biggest fan of games that indicate range of vision like this, but it looks alright and gets a spot.
On our side, for the first time in what seemed like all our lives, we felt like we had a chance.
One of the most amazing titles in development is Advent Neon, an insanely fast-paced pixel art action title that certainly looks to have some Sonic inspiration. The action is pretty fast and intense, where you're blazing your way through the level and fighting mechanical bosses, with, most interestingly, a combat system that resembles that of platform fighters, so that means directional and aerial attacks, wave dashing, cancels and more. Impressively, it's from a solo developer and should have been much higher on this list, but I wanted to highlight its Kickstarter campaign, where it is 80% funded with 16 days left to go as of recording, so chip in if you want. An impressive but overlooked Zelda-style action-adventure game from 2019 is Timothy and the Mysterious Forest, where the developers are back with Timothy and the Tower of Mu, switching out the Zelda-style design for a straight-up action platformer. It has you exploring the mysterious tower, said to grant a wish if you manage to ascend it, and thus incorporate some precision platformer elements with plenty of tiny platforms and spikes, but does have the requisite combat. I do get a little bit of a La Mulana vibe from this, making it one to watch. I came across Through the Nightmares when browsing Steam, a title where you play as the Sandman in the world of children's nightmares, having a main character that kind of looks like the one from Recompile, looking to have some fantastic storms, which reminds me of Electronic Superjoy, which you can find out more about in the video linked above.
Spectacular Sparky! It's me, Sparky, intergalactic bounty hunter extraordinaire!
The 90s was an era filled with mascot platformers, some with the snark and attitude of a Sonic, others like Bubsy, Gex, Ratchet or Mario, where Spectacular Sparky does look to have some attitude. The action and pixel art looks great and is a real throwback, where our protagonist does have a variety of ranged weapons. If you love the pics so far, smack that like button to show your support. I was pretty impressed with the look of Super Catboy, a 16-bit action platformer that did remind me a little bit of Metal Slug due to the look, but interestingly, you appear to be primarily a melee-focused character facing off against enemies with guns. Animation and action looks fluid, so of course this makes the cut. A title that I was initially not sold on is Fire Girl, having been on my radar for a little while, but their latest trailer shows that it has been polished up nicely and is therefore worth a look. As you can see, you play as a firefighter armed with an axe and a high-pressure water cannon, having to use these tools to save a variety of characters in danger. It has a very interesting look, combining 2D pixel art sprites with 3D environments, which was the reason of my initial doubt, but this latest trailer looks amazing, especially with the environments and silhouettes. Also shown off is the fire station, which can be upgraded, which does unlock new tools and improvements as well, looking to be quite the package of interest. I've been a fan of developer Clemmygames ever since I came across their Zelda-style action-adventure title, Prodigal, last year, where Curse Crackers, For Whom the Bell Toils, is both a clever pun and a fantastic-looking action platformer. It does have their signature pixel art look, which would not be out of place on the GBA, where you play as Belle and her pet, going on a quest to get your kidnapped boyfriend back from your rival, a bunny-eared necromancer. Some great enemy and NPC designs like the skeleton, rockstar and giant dog were shown off here, so look out for this later this year. One of the best looking titles in development is Berserk Boy, one that allows you to go berserk, transforming into different forms that utilize a number of elemental powers. Like at the Neon, the action looks fast, with a variety of aerial moves and dashes that add to the fluidity of combat. The 5 elemental forms of lightning, fire, earth, air and ice are interesting, where I do wonder if you can switch between them on the fly or have to choose a particular form for the level, but either way, fantastic look and pixel art taking the #1 spot. For more action platformers, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.